So come on in, take a sip, let's wind down. It's Saturday, and this is my favorite day of the week to solve a grid, and I'm just terribly excited to have you here with me. My name is Christopher, and this is Wind Down. And speaking of that, I kind of refer to this as like solver's courage, just a little bit to get my evening going. I do love wine. Good thing we named the channel Wind Down. So I was just thinking, one of the benefits to like liking and subscribing and setting yourself up with notifications here is because this is not AI generated, and it certainly isn't rehearsed, right? I think that's abundantly clear to anyone who sits down and watches, but it's as real as you can get. And don't do any fakery. There's no filters. There's none of that stuff going on, because I would really hate it to be like in an airport or something somewhere and somebody say, "You look so familiar. You look like an older version of that guy that does the crossword." Nope. What you see is what you get here. You'll never be surprised in person, I promise you. So our wind down word of the day is anecdotage. I just love this. It's this combination of portmanteau, if you will, from an anecdote and dotage, right? People get older and they begin to, maybe repeat themselves, or kind of just chatter on and so on and so forth. And so, yeah, by definition, it is elderly garrulousness, right? And something that I'm terribly looking forward to in my own being one day. So, of note to us in history, on this day in 1922, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk takes Constantinople from Mehmed VI, proclaiming the Republic of Turkey and an end to the Ottoman Empire. That's significant. Yeah? And in 1993, the Maastricht Treaty goes into effect, essentially creating the European Union, which I think is pretty cool too. I used to live about 45 minutes from Maastricht, and about an hour and 15, hour and a half from Eindhoven. Just a beautiful part of the world over there. On this day in 1969, the Beatles' Abbey Road went number 1 in the United States, and it stayed there for 11 weeks. Seems kind of short to me. And of note, by the way, on this day in 1928, Turkey passes the new alphabet law, getting rid of Arabic and adopting the Latin alphabet. So, well done on that. And of course, if you've ever read The Red Badge of Courage, on this day in 1871, Stephen Crane was born. So really exciting stuff all the way around. Good day for history tidbits that we know crop into the crossword all the time as it goes. So let's go ahead and hop into our grid. Let's see what we got for our Saturday here. It's a lovely day here in Europe. I mean, I can say pretty much across the board. Here in Germany, it's cold and it's cloudy. But went to the train station earlier so that I could pick up some food, because today is a big German holiday, and I didn't realize that going into it. Got up this morning, went straight to the ATM, was headed out to get a manicure and a facial and all that good stuff, go to the farmer's market, get fresh eggs, and guess what? It's a ghost town, because Germans take their holidays very seriously. So, looks like we have for Saturday, November 1st. Wow, where has this year gone? We have a Michael Lieberman construction edited by Will Shorts. Exciting enough. Let's hop into it. Let's see what we got for the day. Okay. They're often engaged in engineering. Well, we're not going to guess that one, I don't suppose. A rose. Salon service for short. Could be the P I'm looking for. If you've been solving with me for a while, I kind of get an idea what something could be. I'm thinking this is like maybe sat up, got up, something like that. So I think we can probably find an anchor in here, which I love to have to get us started. README readers could be users. And, Michael Lieberman, you always come up with a really tricky grid, don't you? They break after some drives. I'm thinking tees. Thinking golf. I used to be guilty of golf, but not anymore. No. In fact, I only saved one thing from my golfing days, and that was my Scotty Cameron putter. But you know what I did with that? I sold it. I just don't need any of this in my life anymore. I'm good without it. One way to enjoy the great outdoors informally. I don't know. Wasn't doing well, perhaps ailed. Mertens of tennis, and I do believe this is Elise. Well, try that. Maybe try to get it spelled correctly. Controversial Richard Serra sculpture once seen in New York City's Foley Square, and I think this is the Tilted Arc. Tilted Arc. Yeah, we had a Richard Serra piece called The Vortex installed in my hometown of Fort Worth, Texas at the Fort Worth Museum of Modern Art. It was always kind of it's really hard to, the name of the museum is the Modern Art Museum of Fort Worth. So you couldn't come up with like a cool MoMA, right, type of thing to go with it. No, it was just MAMAFWA. There were no acronyms that would work. It's just, hey, you want to go to the MAMAFWA today? Have a new exhibit? Yeah, the MAMAFWA. Didn't really work. But, talk about a world-class collection there. We've also got the Kimball Art Museum, the Amon Carter. We've got good museums in Fort Worth. I mean, it's good stuff. A rose. I think we might have said sat up. I'm going to try it. No, because the gift of Athena to Athenians was an olive tree. So let's go ahead and do got up. Olive tree. Oh, I think we just talked yesterday about the 2,000 plus year old olive tree in Crete, which is really fortuitous, perhaps? I don't know. So they're often engaged in engineering, could be gear teeth. Okay, well. And so I guess one way to enjoy the great outdoors informally would be taking an RV trip. Take a little trip. The Rock signature WWE move. Well, let's just hope we can get the downs necessary for this one. Otherwise, I think I'm done. Toyota models from 1978 to 1999. I think these were the Tercels. Greek goddess whose name becomes a Mexican beer if you change the first letter to T, and I guess that would be Hecate. I guess it would become Tecate, wouldn't it? That's pretty funny. I never thought of it that way. Mandolin accessory could be a capo. I've got one on my guitar right now. If you are a guitar player, you can spot that sucker sitting up there on the top of that guitar. I don't know what I'd do without a capo. I really don't. Textures, disclaimer. I'm going to start with in my humble opinion and see if that works. Campus opening. Oh, how about a hippocampus? All right, nice, very clever. Drilling site. Often misquoted film line. Yeah, that's like the Mandela effect right there. I always hear people say, "Luke, I am your father." You know, but actually it is no, I am your father. Some along those lines. I mean, Darth Vader, the poor guy, kind of sounded like an asthmatic ATM machine. Hit the buttons and stuff. Like, you want to put your card in it and get cash out, but that whole, you know, I'm just the greatest villain of all time, perhaps, right? You know, but nothing messed my head up more than going into Philosophy 101 as an undergraduate and having a professor tell me that the Sith were just as important as the Jedi. I mean, you know, it's about balance, you know. You gotta have a balance in the Force. And I thought, oh, okay. Like some on-the-go purchases, I'm assuming this is going to be in-app. I mean, I don't know, but we got this O here, so maybe a drilling site could be a molar. Ouch. Product with a one-time slogan and adventure in every bowl. What was... there was a cereal. There's the alphabet. Alphabets. Sometimes you just got to talk through these things. You just got to kind of talk through it. You might just give yourself the answer. Yearbook division. How about seniors? Superficially conceal is a problem. Perhaps we are going to paper over said problem. Conflicts waged on behalf of third-party powers could be proxy wars. English writer, philosopher of Wollstonecraft, and it would be Mary. And Friar's title? No, French title. Maybe Mademoiselle? Like many houses. So the Rock's signature WWE move. I'm not quite sure I know what WWE stands for. I mean, it's like wrestling, something. It's wrestling, right? I mean, I know that. So I'm going to assume we have some sort of an elbow thing going on. Whatever this is, whether this kills me in this grid or not, I am going to have to figure out what this is and maybe watch some videos and what it actually looked like. I'm interested. Whispered exhortation. Exhortation. So a command, really. St. Peter's Basilica attraction. I'm assuming B8. When many take stock informally. Is this an O? Components of décadas would be años. So yeah, I'm going to go with IPOs, initial public offerings, and settled a debt reluctantly. Perhaps we had ponied up. Put away some groceries. Only mammals that can crack Brazil nut shells with their teeth. Okay, all right. Let's see. We got anything down here? Airline mechanic at times. Atypical to Antonius. I guess we're going for the Latin for rare. So rara. Behind could be late. Certain smock. If I had to guess, I'd say a lab coat. Name of 8 popes would be Urban. We got a tricky grid here. This is not going to be a solve for the faint of heart. And I guess this whispered exhortation would be to pass it on. Kind of like playing the telephone game. I never could figure out why we couldn't ever get that right in kindergarten, but we couldn't. There was no getting that right. Spit it out. Saliva. Got it. Okay. So, like many houses, could be eaved. Airline mechanic at times could be a riveter. Yeah, okay, sure. So, I think eaved homes, yeah, a lot of places. Superlatively absurd. Does self-checkout. I think these are epic games. Check it. One direction could be east. So I think this might be primps, which makes me think then that we've got a parody up top here. Christian, who was the 2018 NL MVP, and I think this is Yalick. Abbreviation next to a year on a company sign could be established. Founder of the record label Aftermath, and I think they were looking for Dr. Dre. Vibe. Speculative venture. Part of a Greek row informally, or is it a Greek row? I'm gonna go with row, go with a frat. Yeah, I do think this is Gaelic. Number of Spanish provincias that touch Portugal. And I think we're stuck in 7, so siete. Oh, speculative flyer. Got it. Okay. Wow. Not common usage there at all, is it? Vibe, then, therefore, could be a tenor. Words next to an arrow and a maze, perhaps start here. You can't make me. Prez with a VP nicknamed Cactus Jack. Yeah, and that would be Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And so a person giving a video testimonial perhaps could be a paid actor, and Caramilla would be the term of infection. Okay. Yeah, now I'll think about this and decide later grouping. I don't know. Device built into most laptops. I'm going to go with a mic. 2-in-1 computer command. How about a copy paste? Certain fancy attire for short. I guess we're going to go with a tux to start. That should make this easy to figure out. Nook book as an example. I mean, I think this is a text of some sort. I don't know. Apparently, no. Commercial lead-in to Maddox, maybe Instamatic. High performance British sports car. Oh, I want one so badly. I want a Lotus. FYI, advertisement could be a public service announcement. Disney-owned channel. I think we might be looking for ESPN here. A top could be up on. So is this the people's elbow? Put away some groceries, maybe eat in. That would make superlatively absurd beyond parody. Materialistic type of the 1980s. I always think he's going to be a hippie for some reason. I don't even know why, but the exact opposite of that, or basically what became of hippies if they sold out and got their MBAs. Yuppies. Got it. So this looks like this is going into the maybe pile. And this looks like apparently no is I guess not, and that means only mammals that can crack Brazil nuts would be agoutis? I don't know. Let's see. How do we do, Bob? Yeah, I really didn't know at all. I've never heard of agoutis. Agoutis. I don't even know how to pronounce it. The people's elbow is a new one for me. For sure. I'm going to have to watch that one just to see what's going on with that. I like seeing the urban and the Pieta. I love it when we get heavy into either, other languages, i.e. siete provincias. I just love that. Or we get into the Latin, which is the root of so much for us, right? Around the world, really. And so a very interesting grid, extremely clever. I mean, so well constructed, Michael Lieberman. This was just a gorgeous, gorgeous grid. Love seeing Richard Serra come into the grid here as well, and especially with the tilted arc. Mom friend, I don't even know what that is. Acquaintance made at daycare drop-off, perhaps. That's funny. Of course, the paid actor. Everything here was just gorgeous. I love these clues here. Spit it out, and you're like, oh, it was saliva. Got it. No, very beautifully done. Well done. Super job. We'll go ahead and bring down our Benny or Dadu and have a little bit of post-solving libation. And when this gets uploaded, it'll be time for my evening shower. And then it's time for wine night. We're going to just drink wine and we're going to watch a good movie or two. That's what we're going to do. I say that, and then something will happen and I'll wind up rearranging my sock drawer. But Shotzi comes back on Wednesday. I'm very excited about that. So my life will just be better again because she will be in it on a daily basis. And so as it is, I just cannot complain at all. Until we see you again, if you would maybe take a second just to like the video, that would be awesomeness. If you haven't subscribed, it's totally free. And I'm not a bad guy to have pop into your feed on occasion. I promise you I'm not. So then tomorrow we've got the Sunday grid. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you for that. And this is right. This is a legitimate part-time job, and it is 7 days a week, and I love every second of it. So until then, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, arrivederci, que tengas un lindo día, and masalamati. Be well out there. Take care of yourselves, your friends, all that good stuff. But most importantly, be nice to strangers. And remember, when you meet people like my grandmother with a thick, hard to understand at times foreign accent, what you're really doing is you're meeting someone with un cœur de lion, meeting someone with like the heart of a lion. It just sounds better in French. Be well out there. Cheers.